Hello, everyone. John Doyle from Optics EQ, and Happy New Year. Took a little rest. Hopefully, everyone had a good holiday. And now we're going to dig in here. It's a Monday, January 3rd. Our video race of the day is at Fairgrounds. It's race 8. It's a turf sprint. And looking at the plot, and there's a couple of horses that jump out at me just initially. That would be the 3, 11, the 6, right? They look pretty good on the standard. The 6 doesn't plot on the surface distance, but the 3 and 11 also look solid again there. So those are the horses we want to look at. And if you go up to the V bars here, that's something that you go to quad percentage, you'll see what the quad percentage does is it looks at history and it says, okay, for this surface and distance, you know, squares went at 20% in quadrant 1, circles in quadrant 3 or 4 at 4%. And what it does, it compares those percentages of where the horses are for standard and surface and distance against each other. And then when you see the V bars or the bars going up, that means it's positive that this horse ranks higher than the other horses, and below it's negative. So the horses that kind of rank high, I mean, obviously the 3 looks the best, but 1, 3, you can see the 6 has got bars above. He's only on that 1, right? So you don't see any of his, he doesn't have any surface distance, but the standards are good. The 8 looks okay, a little mixed here on the on surface and distance, and then the 11. Those are the ones that look pretty good. So 1, 3, uh, 6, 8, and 11, and we said the 3, 6, and 11 kind of look the best. So I'm going to evaluate this race because the number 11, Forestera, is the morning line favorite 9-5, and yeah, I got my doubts about it, so now I'm going to show you why. So let's go to number 11. Okay, I like to tell the story. Let's go back up because this was the one thing that jumps out at me when you just visually look at this grid is all the red. That's a negative, okay? So let's go from the bottom to the top. You could see this horse was really had a promising career, obviously, because he was in the Baffert barn, Godolphin. This horse was running like mid to high 80s as a 2-year-old. So you just think about it. And her last race with Baffert was in a grade 2 where she ran second. So you figure this horse has got a future. And then she kind of disappears. She ends up in the Stidham barn. You see the trainer change here. Still a good dolphin. First race was in Pimlico, a real drop down from Southern California. And the horse runs a 77. Oh, big drop in numbers what this horse was running. You would project this horse, was everything was all right, improving, and physically everything was okay. This horse would be in the 90s as a 3-year-old. Not the case. Follow that up with a turf, and we wanted this horse. You could see in her initial race, we thought this horse would be better on the turf. So she gets the turf going along, gets an easy lead, but can't hold it, and the figure comes back slow. So obviously, she's not the same horse she was when she was in the Baffert barn. Now she improves, well, which gets an easy lead, again going long, and then she comes back to another route. This one was off the turf, and gets ranked dual and no finish. Okay, going long. So they figure, oh, let's cut her back in distance, and they do, and she runs a good race, but she gets disqualified because she's kind of, let's see the note, outside stalking trip favorable on this course. So the course was favorable to the way she wanted to run. She came over in the lane and was DQ'd in a very controversial call. Okay, maybe she shouldn't have been DQ'd, but you could see that was her first kind of sprint since her debut, second race actually, and she got the advantage of being on a turf course that kind of favored her style. Now she's back in another sprint. She's okay. It's just that I don't project like a lot higher. A figure of 81, I don't know if that's going to be a lot more, right? She just hasn't done the progression that we needed. So maybe there's some others here. Maybe the 3 and the 6 have more upside in terms of production. Let's look at them. Remember that 81, okay, she can regress from that 81 because she had a favorable trip. The 3 started off routing around a good 80, and then in fact the first 3 rounds, and this is a horse that another one came way off, a long way off, over a year, and had no cover and trouble in that start at Fairgrounds and ran a respectable 79 third. So we can project some improvement on this horse, I would imagine, right off the second, off the layoff. because this horse has a back number. Debut was 80, so there's movement here. And if you look at the favorite with the 81, um, this horse could be very competitive here. And obviously, she's 3-1. She is. And other people see that too. Um, the 6 is another one. We last race it looked like this horse had some trouble at the start. Slow out of the gate, but then had trouble, made a move, and was against the flow in a race. So maybe that's a little bit better than it looked. We projected the horse to get back onto turf, and you see her numbers here are good on synthetics. So if she can do the turf and upgrade from the turf and get back to those 84, 87, obviously she's a strong contender. She moves into the sharp barn. This is their kind of meet. So he's got his regular rider there. So this horse is probably well met. So these are two alternatives to the 11, who's going to probably be the favorite in this race, the 3 and the 6. So you got to kind of think about the odds and think how you want to play them. Also, let's look at the other ones that we mentioned that had fairly decent plots. The number 1, Parker Eva, and this horse looks like kind of declining on numbers, but I think this horse is probably better one turn. So sprint back to the sprint's good, kind of faded after going, after being ahead, second call last time routing. Don't like the fact that she's lost below this level, so I would limit this horse to underneath. The number 8 was another horse that we thought plotted okay. And this horse kind of just ran the best figure she's ever run in the last race. So I don't know if she's going to move forward off of that now or regress. So one to keep in mind, but again, one I would limit to the bottom of tries and supers probably. And the 10 was the other one. Just it's a horse that looked like a square. Again, don't like the fact that she lost at below this level, but that was at Keeneland. Normally a little bit better there. Uh, so again, limit the bottoms of tries and supers. But for me, 3 and 6, kind of evaluate them on your own. We're looking for the better of the price. I would say we're trying to beat the 11 here in race 8 at Fairgrounds. Check us out at OptixEQ.com and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hopefully this is interesting. And then, just give us some comments on things you want to see, maybe races you want to see covered. But thanks for listening.